Welcome back to Channel 7 News. This is Sophie Bray, and you just heard why you should never leave your sunroof open, especially during thunderstorm season. Now, Dr. Bray and Dr. Leslie are going to discuss the obesity crisis, the reasons behind it, and the consequences.
Obesity rates have been on the rise for decades, rising from 14% of Canadians in 1978 to 23% in 2004, and are not showing signs of slowing down.
It has been determined that changes in diet and physical activity patterns are correlated to the rise of obesity rates.
Generally, there has been an increased caloric intake, which directly contributes to weight gain. The mean energy intake increased from 314 calories in 1971 to 2004.
Furthermore, Americans spend 46% of their annual food budget at restaurants, up from 26% in 1970. This is because the number of restaurants has nearly doubled in the past 30 years. Studies show that people who do not eat fast food have substantially lower fat, sugar, and carbohydrate intake.
Today, we are much more sedentary than in the past, which is the time spent being inactive. 69% of Canadian adults do not meet the daily recommendation for physical activity.
In 2000, 65% of the labor force had low-activity occupations, which has nearly doubled since 1950. Moreover, the percent of television owners in America rose from 10% to 98% since 1950, and the average viewing hours have also almost doubled since then. Finally, fewer adults are using active forms of transportation to get to work. The proportion of trips by car increased from 67% in 1960 to 88% in 2000.
But why should we even care about the rising obesity rates?
Well, the answer lies in the number of health complications that obesity contributes to, such as increased risk for heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure, and premature death.
Congestive heart failure increases by an average of 6% with every 1 unit increase in BMI. The risk for cancer is also greatly increased by obesity. In 2012 in the US, 3.5% and 9.5% of new cancer cases for men and women respectively were caused by obesity.
Finally, those with a BMI between 35 and 40 have a 30% increase of death for all causes. With a greater BMI, there's an 80 to 100% increase for premature death.
However terrifying these health effects may be, all of us are affected by how rising obesity rates have impacted the economy. With 170 billion obesity cases expected by 2030, that adds up to a $3.3 billion burden on the economy that we must support.
All of this is not to make you panic. Obesity doesn't have to continue to rise at its current rate. Studies have shown that education on the importance of a healthy diet and meeting the recommended daily levels of physical activity can significantly help restore the health of America.
Now that's some food for thought. Thank you, Dr. Bray and Dr. Leslie. Coming up next, the dangers of driving with low tire pressure will be discussed by expert mechanics after a short break.